about 10 years in the making, and the list of people who've been involved in this project is unbelievably long, and so I apologize, we're not going to thank everybody. I'm just going to go through, and we have a few speakers today, and then we cut the ribbon, and hope you all go to Betsfield to help celebrate afterwards. I want to start that this project wouldn't have happened without federal funding. This last piece was part of federal stimulus money, so 100% of the construction of this project was with federal funding. And so Representative Olver is going to start us off. He has been incredibly helpful for this project, both in East Hampton, which is his district, and in Northampton. The project that we did from the state hospital up through downtown was from a special appropriation that Representative Olver got for the city. I will say personally, I came to a ribbon cutting in East Hampton for the Manhan Rail Trail, I think 4.5 years ago, and Representative Olver was great, except for he said, so where's Northampton? Why don't they finish their trail? So we're happy to have you here. We're finally there.
Well, Wayne, you know, you've just mentioned that it's been about 10 years in the making. I don't know of any projects that aren't of this sort, about 10 years in the making, and I'll say something a little bit more about that in just a few minutes. Anyway, we're being graced by a little bit of good weather today, and I have the feeling that that the speakers, including myself, ought to be relatively short, because I see a lot of people who want to get on the trail, essentially, and we're just blocking the trail at this very moment. But I am very pleased and happy to see that the Recovery Act could be used for such a good purpose. There are places where you might not have the feeling that the Recovery Act was still being used, but I can see that this is going to be a very popular usage. As I came up here, I had to try to measure off. My feet are just a little bit over 12 inches, so I was measuring off. I wasn't sure whether this was a 10-footer or a 12-footer, but I'm very sensitive to that for another reason that I will speak about along the way. But this project makes a really useful connection between the two communities, the two cities, Northampton and East Hampton, and for the region as a whole. Bike paths like the Manhan and the Norwalk provide alternative transportation networks. They improve our quality of life and reduce greenhouse gases, and they spur the local economies. Now, there is a history here, and I'm just going to mention it for a bit. Northampton, I think, had the first real off-road bike path, and it's more than 20 years ago. It must have been in the late 1970s or thereabouts. Somebody, Wayne, can you tell me?
28 years ago.
28? 28. And then the second major one in this area was the Norwalk Trail. We had the Northampton being first, and then for the Norwalk Trail we had this grand idea that it would be good to put glass in the trail. And also, the other grand idea was that it should only be 8 feet wide. Now, 10 feet is great, but that Norwalk Trail happens to be a connector between Amherst and Northampton. That one probably should be 12 feet rather than merely 10 feet. In any case, here we are. Those trails have been there all that time. For the last 12, 13 years, and the last two reauthorizations of surface transportation, I had the opportunity in those reauthorizations to earmark close to $30 million for bicycle paths around my district. Now, my district is pretty large, so some of it went to Berkshire, some of it went to Hamden, some of it's been used in this area when somebody was ready to use it, some of it's been used in Franklin, some of it out in Worcester County as well. But there are at least 40 miles that can be identified of bicycle path that have been done with that. There have been some Actually, in the last authorization, my almost major first purpose was to get the glass out of the Norwottuck rail trail, and it's been in there for 20 years, and we really do need to get it out. But there have been problems in other places. On this one, on the Manhan and trail from Northampton to East Hampton, we have had the problem of asbestos for the last mile, which we might get solved this year. We have had a cave-in that got solved just simply made my eyes roll to see what was happening there. And I must say that for years now I've had the feeling that this one was going to take a while, and here it is now. It's basically done. So now we have only a couple of short stretches between Northampton and the Connecticut border and the Congamon Lakes. Southwick is all finished with theirs. Westfield is working on the project to the center of the city, and then there's a project to the Southampton line and across Southampton, and we'll have that all done. There may be a little bit of problem right in the downtown here in Northampton to make a good route through. So anyway, we have made good progress, and maybe eventually we're going to get the glass out of the Norwottuck Trail. Now, as many of you know, the fight for these recovery dollars were waged by your leaders, Mayor Mike and Mayor Claire, who's hiding behind my shoulder here. Without their advocacy, and in a timely and in a decisive manner, we wouldn't be here today. We wouldn't have this trail and this system about ready to go that essentially allows us to go from the Belchertown town line and maybe through, I'm not quite sure how that is, what stage that one is at, through Belchertown to Emerson, Northampton, and then on to East Hampton. But I do want to thank Wayne Fiden and Stuart Beckley, the planners for Northampton and East Hampton. Where's Stuart? Well, okay, Stuart is not here, but Wayne was doing the introductions here, for their extraordinary support for the program of bicycle trails in each of their communities. And I know that it has not been easy budgetarily or otherwise. Also want to thank Mass Highway. I don't know who's here representing Mass Highway for getting this work. Maryland. Okay, good. Thank you very much for getting this work done in such an expeditious manner. And who's here representing the Planning Commission? Anybody from the Regional Planning Commission? Because
I'm on the Transportation Committee, but I'm not an employee.
Well, okay.
That's all right.
I thought maybe Tim Brennan might be here, because a lot of time gets put in by the Planning Commission on these kinds of projects, and to make those, keep them on the radar screen and keep them moving is a very important thing to do. And then I want to finally thank the Friends of the Manhan Trail and the Friends of the Northampton Trails and Greenways for your continued advocacy for this system and the support that you've given over the years. So thank you all for being here. Use this beautiful bridge, a key here to this program. By the way, I especially call it beautiful because looking at that bridge, I think you're going to have rock climbers using the side of the bridge as a training area, as a traverse area, or something like that. I was looking over the other side of the bridge where there's water, and you could even have rock climbing going with the, if you fall, you fall into the water. Except that supposedly is only a foot or so deep. Anyway, use this beautiful bridge and enjoy all the benefits that the Manhan and Norwottuck trails have to offer use those in better health and often. Thank you very much.